All right, how we doing, guys? It's time for Meet the Collection. Those of you that follow me on Instagram, Phoebe, you're not involved in this. A lot of times I'll put up votes and let you guys pick who you want to see on the Meet the Collection segment, or even ask for input on videos. So if you guys don't follow me on there and you are on Instagram, same name, Dan Magano Snakes. I actually changed it on there just to make it easy. But you will notice, those of you that voted, this is not the snake that won. Well, the snake that won, I went to grab him out of his cage and he just went into shed probably yesterday. So we have to adapt. I'm not going to bother him when he's in shed. So instead, it's going to be my marble male. And this snake actually just sired 2 clutches this year for the first time. He didn't do it here. He was up at New England Reptile. I loaned him to Rob, if you guys are familiar with Rob up there. And this guy knocked up 2 of his girls, and there's 2 clutches cooking from him right now, which I'm very much looking forward to. I'm not going to say too much about what it is because Rob wanted to play it a little close to the vest, but we'll see what happens. He definitely did his job. He was with 2 girls, got them both. Both laid good clutches, so that's a good thing. Now, as far as when I got this snake, I don't know his hatch date. He was an extremely late 2016, if I remember correctly. It's not a very big male, but obviously he's doing well. He's breeding, and he's just on the smaller side. So how I got this snake is not normally how I buy snakes. I actually got a pair of marbles. I have his sister as well, who eventually I'll introduce at some point, I'm sure. But I actually bought them on auction, which is not something that I would normally recommend or normally do. In this case, I was able to find out in advance a little bit about the lineage of the animals before I put in any kind of bid on them or anything like that. They do stem from some Minatola stock stuff, so of course I wanted that. So what happened is there was an auction site on Facebook, and it was basically all ball python people, and somebody put up this pair of marble Borneo shorttails as hatchlings. The opening bid was $100 for the pair, and it was a no reserve auction. So I put in a $100 bid and nobody else bid. So I got a pair of these guys for $100, probably, easily $700 worth of snake there, maybe a little bit more. So definitely a great deal I can't complain about. Cost me, I think the shipping was like $60, but I just sent him 80 because I felt so bad that he, took such a wash on the snakes. I mean, I won them fair and square, but I still sent something a little extra just as a, hey, that sucks. But these guys are pretty good. They're definitely on the weary side. You can see just in his movements, he's starting to get a little bit more comfortable. But I usually watch them a little more. His sister's more of the edgier of the 2. She has days where she just doesn't want to be handled, and she will let you know. I haven't gotten these guys outside for pictures the last year or 2, so I will definitely try to do that this year. But you can see, where they get the name marble from. You look at the marbling on the sides there. A lot of people talk about whether granite and marble are different genes, the same gene, whatever it is, different lines. I tend to find personally that the marble is more like this, a lot busier, if you will. Whereas granite, I find, is a lot more subtle. And it's one of those things where if I look at the 2, I can usually say, hey, that comes from granite, or hey, that comes from marble. So the fact that I can do that with really, really good accuracy, and I am no, morph expert. Phoebe, go please. No, you go. So the fact that I can tell tells me that there's got to be something different going on. It's kind of like in ball pythons, you have butter and lesser. Obviously they're compatible, and I don't doubt that those 2 lines stemmed from somewhere early on that was the same. But I can typically tell, looking at a lesser versus a butter, which side of the coin it came from. There are some times where you're not right, but I would say probably 80+% of the time I can tell the 2 apart. So there's enough subtle difference. And it's the same with these guys. These guys, I think I'm better than 80%, probably batting around 90, 95% typically. And of course, who knows, because somebody could be wrong about their lineage. So I could say, hey, that looks granite, and they could agree, and maybe it was from marble, and they just didn't know. But I see differences. You know, I've never seen a granite really that looks like this. They are similar, but just enough difference. What are you doing, bud? It's making it difficult to hold them. Turn them around here and see the other side. Yeah, you're moving away. Definitely cool snakes. A little bit of tail striping. So it'll be interesting to see if the resulting offspring from the pairings that we did have any kind of striping. I don't know that the granite female has much, but I believe the marble female does. And if I'm not mistaken, she's marble looking, but I don't think she comes from marble lineage. I think she was something of a little bit different from her clutch, and that's kind of why I wanted to put marble to it and see what happens. One of the most fun things about breeding Borneos is it's like mad scientist. You throw stuff together, you have hunches, and the babies come out and just go, no, you're wrong, or sometimes confirm what you were thinking. Trying to get a decent focus shot of his head. It's like they know you want to get close-ups and nice and clear, and they just don't want you to do that. But like most short tails, he's got a lot of personality. Once he's comfortable, he's very interactive and curious at what's going on around him. He just takes a little bit longer to get going than some of the other ones because he is weary. Part of that is I really haven't handled this snake at all throughout his life. Obviously, to clean him, I handle him. But as far as recreational goes, I've taken him outside for pictures maybe twice. And then handling just to handle maybe 2 or 3 times in his life. So he's one that just typically gets moved to clean. And there's not any reason. I guess I just have more of an attachment to certain snakes than others, especially stuff that I produced. I'm just always more drawn to those animals because they mean so much to me. And not that he doesn't mean a lot to me. He's a really cool guy. I was stressed as hell when he was up at Nerd. This is the first time I've ever let one of my animals go anywhere else. But I trust Rob 100%. And so I wasn't, what are you looking at? I wasn't very concerned in that regard. It's just weird for me not having one of my animals here where I can just walk in at any time and see what they're doing. So I did bother him. I tried not to bother him much. Occasionally I bothered Emily instead and asked her how he was doing, just so I didn't get too annoying. But I was happy to go pick him up and bring him home, and he's been great since. I actually sat in the office up there with him before I dropped him off for a while, just because I was sad to be letting him go for a bit. And obviously it's important when you do breeding loans like that to, when you bring these animals back, you know, treat it like it's a new animal. Don't treat it like it's just goes back to where it came from in your collection. And that's not to say anything bad about Nerd or about Rob or anybody at all. It's not an insult to quarantine animals coming back from somebody else's collection. It's just a smart thing to do. You know, and they would do the same, you know, in a vice versa situation. You just always want to be on the safe side. You can never ever be too cautious. But obviously he's great. He's came home nice and healthy, no issues, no freebies. So any questions you guys have on him, feel free to shoot it on there. As I mentioned, check out the Instagram if you're not on there. I don't post much content on this time of year. Usually on my story, I'll post some stuff. I hate taking indoor pictures. I don't do light boxes. I like natural light, untouched pictures. It's almost warm enough now. I have a couple of posts up. I'll do like a throwback here and there just to keep something fresh going on. But we're getting into the weather where I'm going to be able to start taking a lot of pictures, and that's something I really enjoy doing. I love getting them outside. I love posing them and setting them up in situations that I think will, you know, bring out their best, so to speak, or have some nice scenery. I love doing the Halloween shoots every year with them. I always spend like $100, $150 and go out and get a bunch of pumpkins and little gourds and all different stuff and do photo shoots with them. And I try to get different snakes in that each year because obviously I don't have time to do, you know, Halloween photo shoot over the course of a day or two that we have decent weather during that time of year. To do like 100 snakes, it's just not conceivable. Plus, I like to limit it just from a quarantine perspective. You know, I am using the same pumpkins and same things with multiple animals. So, You know, I like to have groups that are kind of together and make sense, that I'm using with the same backdrop and that kind of stuff. Just always stuff that I think about. But I love when he's focused on me right now. You see he stopped. There was no tongue flicks for a minute. Now he's going to pick back up because I'm changing. But I love when they're just focused on what you're doing, whether it's the vibration of my voice or, you know, he's just feeling my breath come out, whatever it is. He was just stopped there and checking it out. And I love when they're as curious and interactive with their environment as we are with them. Really my favorite part of keeping snakes. So we'll see you guys. I don't want to drag this out any further. Check out the channel if you're interested in stickers. You know, feel free to let me know. There's still the competition from the last video going on, which I didn't tell you how to enter, but some people are already entered and they don't know it yet. So keep interacting and we'll go from there. We'll see you on Saturday.